Well, hello, my CNC brothers and sisters. I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and there's only half of me right now. Our sister, Kate Tucker from Women Who CNC, is sick, and her family is sick. Her two kids have strep throat, and so does she. So it looks like it's just little old me, kind of, sort of. But before we get to that kind of stuff, welcome to Wednesday night, our CNC hangout, where we get to chew the fat, which a bunch of people have been doing for quite a while now. And it looks like, I think Tim Nudd was the first one. No, WTA Pipes was the first one I can find on here. Then Tim said, 8 hours and 45 minutes till showtime. Waiting 8 hours. And then he said, wait, 8 hours and 42 minutes now. And then Jack showed up 7 hours before this time. And I'll tell you what, you guys are awesome. And Julianne said 4 hours ago. Julianne, you've been hanging out that long? So anyway, yeah, it's solo me. And when I found out Sister Kate was not going to be showing up tonight, I'm like, oh no, I'm scared. It's just me. And naturally, what do? I turn to my team for help. And guess who's going to be with us tonight? Our team. We're going to talk about whatever. But I thought it might be a good time to share with you things that go on behind the scenes with you know that Julianne's in the background and Liberty is off there commenting, but Liberty is going to show her face today. Yay, sister. And let's first say a few hellos to some of our CNC brothers and sisters. You guys have been chatting up a storm. Now, before we dive in, first of all, let's kind of get some house rules out of the way. Of course, IDC Woodcraft does not have a tolerance for any kind of sour behavior. So zero tolerance policy. Please be kind. Please be nice. Last week, we had to kick somebody out because they chose not to be. And bring your questions on, if you would. At the beginning of your question, type question in capital letters and then ask your questions. And I'll do my best to answer it solo. I did ask our brother Mark to show up, but he's having some pretty ugly weather going on, ice storms. We're all dealing with the cold right now. Somebody said that it's cold in Texas. I mean, come on. So anyway, first of all, I'm going to say hello to a few of our brothers and sisters. Of course, we got Tim Nudd, Jack in the Shop, Oz, brother, you're there. Mark has been talking for a while. Ellen, Madra, 3212. That's our sister Ellen, who is a die-hard loyalist in this Wednesday evening show. And Ellen, watch out. You may come on board one of these days and talk about your journey. But we'll let Kate talk to you about that one. And we got Brian. Hi, Brian. And Ralph, Jim, Hawthorne, scrolling on down the list. You guys have been talking. Chris apparently is having a barbecue. And he said an hour after the show, barbecue at his house. So we'll have to all get in our cars and go. Start that fire, Chris. Make it tall and warm, brother. WXXRYY, Sean, and scrolling on down the list, we got Max on board. I think I said Jim Hawthorne. You guys have been talking about the PCT. I'm going to share a little bit about that because I actually hiked the Pacific Crest Trail. And the thing that you guys have been talking about, Trail Angels, that's real. And I've done it. So we'll talk about that because that was one of the best adventures of my life. Who else we got? Vortex. What's going on, Vortex? And what is it? Wandering Star. That's such a good name. Absolute best custom wood products. You know, those are the kind of names I like. I always thought if I opened up a retail store, I'd call it my favorite store. That would be the sign out front, my favorite store. Or if I opened a bar or restaurant, my favorite bar, my favorite restaurant. Dan is here, and Doug, and a bunch of other of our good people. Roger, hello. Jeremy, Brian, I said hi. All right, David. Yeah, we got a whole bunch of you on board. Happy chilly Wednesday evening. So take a look at some of the comments down at the bottom. Hello from Tennessee. And, oh, no, Tallahassee. That would be Lewis. All right. So let's, what I'm going to do tonight, first of all, just pop out a couple of these statements here, and then we're going to bring Julianne and Liberty on board. And number one, these guys can share about what goes on behind the scenes at IDC Woodcraft that most of the time us as consumers don't realize how much stuff we have to do in order to make sure you get product in your hand and make sure it's good quality, get it shipped out the door. And another thing is I've been working with Liberty for a while, training her on the Vectric software. And so maybe, just maybe, you can give her some pointers of what you think that would help her out. So gonna be a little bit of a different night. First, I'm going to pop into the questions, and where are we going to go to? All right, we're going to go straight into a question from Ellen. Hey, Ellen. All right. Does anyone use Bubinga wood? My supplier is getting into it, getting it in, and we just wonder how it carves. I wonder if anybody answered that question. I'd like to see, because I don't know anything about Bubinga wood. I got to go all the way back and find that question. Boy, you're way at the top, Ellen. There you are. Yeah, somebody put something in the comments about that kind of wood, because I don't really know. I mean, there's so many species of wood that it's even I haven't heard of a lot of them. So Babinga, I have heard of that. I read somebody said something about that a while ago, quite a while ago, and I don't know. I don't remember. So, Sean, you got a question. Been working with your Onefinity this past year, and possibly have your first big order and partnership with one of the largest lock makers making custom boards. Okay, so I would love, Sean, for you to type into the comments how that happened. These are the stories that I love to hear, because when it comes to getting CNC, many of us want to get into business, and I've talked to several people on the phone, and so has the team, where they just bought a machine screwing around. Ellen did this, right? And then before they know it, they have a full-time gig with some company, and you never know what happens as long as you get yourself out there. So, Julianne, make sure you mark Sean for his explanation. I would love to hear it. And oh yeah, this is where Jim, he said, so I marked this one, I didn't mark the other one. So they were talking about trail angels. There's another comment above this. They were talking about somebody said their daughter went on the PCT, which is the Pacific Crest Trail. Most of us have heard of the Appalachian Trail, which is along the East Coast. It's a 2,100-mile hiking trail that starts in, I think it starts in one of the Carolinas, and it goes all the way up to Maine. That's one of Liberty's, one of the things that Liberty wants to do, and I encourage her to do it. The PCT is a sister trail that goes along the West Coast, and I did that one, and it's wonderful going up and down the mountains. But they have trail angels, and what trail angels are people who help the hikers when they get off the trail to go to supply towns and what have you. So that's what we got. It's one hell of an adventure, as Chris said. And this is anything in life. This is my attitude. It's a good attitude. Decide to do something, then do it. Right? So often we hesitate. It's like CNC. Most of us looked at CNC machines and and then got scared, right? And hesitated for a long time. It doesn't work until you do it. Anyway, I am going to, how's the spindle coming? I was going to bring the girls out, but we'll bring them out in a minute. Jim has asked, like he asked last week, how's the spindle coming? Okay, so brothers and sisters. Oh, Julianne, get the spindle link, by the way. You know that I have gotten a spindle from PWN CNC, and I'm getting ready to install it and trash the Makita router. Well, not trash it, get it off the machine. So today I started tearing it apart and Adam, our videographer, he was filming me. They're going to talk about maintenance on the CNC router, and I'm doing the spindle changeover now. So my long mill that you always see behind me is in pieces at the moment. And by the way, I'm out of the shop because it's quite chilly out, as we all know, and it's hard to keep our shops warm. So that's why I'm up in my apartment at this point. All right. Lewis has a question. Can we talk a little bit about facts and how to pick out about fonts and how to pick out fonts that work with the CNC? So one of the things with fonts, first of all, CNC Insiders, that's the email list that IDC Woodcraft has. I have an email that goes out that gives you multiple font sources, but I can tell you right here, one is called 1001fonts.com. That's 1001fonts.com. You get a lot of free fonts off of there. There's the website DaFonts, DAFONTS.com. A lot of free fonts there. You can go to Google Fonts and get a bunch of fonts there. So how to pick fonts that work with your machine is a great question. Fonts on CNC routers, there's so many varieties of fonts, it's endless. The first word of caution is be very careful bringing fonts into your computer, not because it's a problem of having fonts. The problem comes where your font list becomes so long in your Vectric software that it confuses you, and you go through this font list and you can't decide what font to get and to use on your project. So the one thing I would say about fonts is keep in mind when you're designing a project that the tooling, the type of font is going to dictate the router bit that you use. Generally, when we're using fonts, we're doing V carving. And when you're doing V carving, if you're using, let's say, a 90-degree V bit, but you have a really narrow font, it may not carve that that properly. You have to go to a 60-degree V bit to get a little deeper. So those are some of the things to think about with fonts. And yep, and there's a lot more of fonts. I believe I got a video out about fonts, but I'm almost certain Mark Lindsay does. I could go into this a little bit further. First of all, there's some questions that have popped in already, but I'm going to bring out the girls first, and we'll get back to questions. So I want to introduce to you both Julianne and Liberty.
Hello.
So many of you have seen Julianne as I introduce her every week, and you've been talking to Liberty back in the background. But Liberty, we said, Liberty, you want to come on board this time? She said, okay, all right, what the heck? So to help you understand, well, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to let these guys share what they do with IDC Woodcraft. And the reason that I brought them on board was because Kate's not here, right? I need help. And the second reason was, okay, well, let's talk about this. Let's introduce to you to what really happens behind the scenes of what we have to do to make sure that your products are getting to you. So first of all, Julianne, or well, no, we'll go to Liberty since they've talked. Yeah, yeah. Look at these guys. Liberty, what's your position with IDC Woodcraft, and what do you do? What do you make sure happens?
My position is the shipping and inventory person, and I make sure what you want gets to you as best I can. With lots of M&Ms.
Yeah, we kind of killed her a week ago with the Badger release. So Liberty is the one that's making sure your M&Ms are in your packages. She's writing the notes on your packages, and Julianne backs her up when she needs it. Julianne has a different role. Julianne, share what your role is. What's some of the stuff that you do?
Well, I don't know. In the job description, it didn't say keeping you organized completely. So But as administrative coordinator, I do all the background, making sure the finances are good and in order to go to the accountant, making sure Liberty has supplies and things that she needs to actually get the things out to you, inventory on products. Yeah, I'm working on that one still.
Yeah.
But yeah, just making sure everything runs smoothly and sticks all together. Keeping these two in line along with Adam, it's a full-time job, you guys.
So girls, how crazy have I made this whole thing so it works?
It's really, really fun when you pop things in and say it's get this ready. We're doing this tomorrow.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
Yep. Yeah. What kind of supplies do we have to have in place in order to make a shipment get out the door?
Envelopes, labels, markers, bit packages, bit labels, stickers, more stickers, more stickers, more stickers, M&Ms.
Boxes, stamps,
cups.
ink.
Yeah. Plus we have a printer. We got the software you have to work with to process the orders. And when there are problems, Liberty goes back into the software. She's got to keep track of things. Liberty's also the phone girl, right? She's taking the phone calls. And this is why Liberty is learning, why I'm so focused on teaching her. She's been with IDC, how long? A little over a year now.
Yes, almost a year. Well, yeah, like a year and 3 months.
All right. I found Liberty in a coffee shop. She was serving in a coffee shop, and she was always bubbly. This coffee shop is just below here. She's always a bubbly person, and her attitude was always good, and that's what attracted me to her. And she got to talking to her a little bit, and said, maybe you'd like to do this, because it really takes a lot of good energy to do. She's a front line to you. All right. And she's got really good telephone presence, and she loves to talk to people. And sometimes we get phone calls. We get phone calls pretty regularly for questions, and I'm not available nearly as I would like to be. So I need to get someone trained up to field questions. So, so tell me about it, Liberty. What about it hasn't been as fast as I wanted to train you.
No, but a lot of my training recently has come from the customer phone calls. They'll call and they'll say, I've got a couple questions. Can you answer them? And I say, I will do my best. And then what I can't answer, we're going to go to Garrett and learn together.
Yep.
I mean, from the beginning, I have absolutely loved the magic of it, and watching you make it and actually like getting to get my hands dirty with it finally has been so much fun. I think going through the files and making files, I love like making things. Like I'm learning how to make my own files, and like that just opens up the possibility of like I can actually do this. So I have like already a list of things that I'm making files to learn.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. So those sisters and brothers who have just shown up, I'm Garrett with the IDC Woodcraft. This is a regular Wednesday night live hangout, and there are some not so familiar faces hanging on the screen today. Our sister Kate is sick with strep, and so are both of her kids. So she is down and out, and so we had to grab somebody, and such last minute. It's kind of like me, okay, we're going to do this now with you guys. Well, here it is. Okay, I'm going to do this now. Come on board, guys. Bring them on board. And so that's what we have done. And we got a nice little comment here, Liberty, from Max. It said, Liberty rocks. She gets those orders out quickly.
I do my best. Thank you.
Liberty does more than do her best. Let me tell you something about IDC Woodcraft. I have really high standards for mindset, attitude, and drive. People don't really have to have the skill set coming on board. They have to have some foundation, but But at the end of the day, they have to be. I'm a driver. I drive myself, and so it's naturally I want others to drive as well, and so it has to be kind of a natural part of them. And I'll tell you, we'll be these two girls will be in the back. I'll step into the warehouse, and they'll be cracking up jokes and stuff like that. But sometimes they're just drilled in doing their stuff, and like, just don't bother me. I want to ask them a question. They give me that look like, don't even dare, Garrett. So that's what it's like. Yeah.
It's
So-
fun.
Oh, Chris. Yes, I have do not disturb for Garrett. I have do not disturb for Garrett. I put a sign on my back.
Yeah. Well, we're at a point now where we can start reading each other.
Yeah.
I can look at Liberty, and her body language is telling me she's in her zone. Leave her be. Same with Julianne and Adam, who is we'll have to get him on board sometime here. But he's the guy that's doing the video stuff, getting it all wrapped up for me, putting it together. Makes life a lot easier. I can focus more on videos and some of the other things we got coming. And by the way, what we got coming are 2 new products. One is in the final design phase right now, and CNC Insiders, you get discounts on new releases. Liberty hates that. What happens when I release? What's that?
I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love our people. I love our list. I love, giving people extra special things, but y'all are really hyper and get real on it.
Yep. Liberty ends up when we release the Badger at the beginning of the month for that week. Both these girls are working overtime. They chose to work overtime. They were both working 10 hours a day to get these things out the door, and it still took us a week to get them out the door. So whenever I say, hey, we're going to have a new release coming, they start, oh, crap, now we got to get ready again.
Let me get all the supplies.
Jerry, my brother, had contributed another $20. Thank you. This is something that some of the creators do on occasion. I will make a donation on the IDC Woodcraft YouTube channel. Below the video is a little button or a super sticker button or something like that. You press that and you can donate, and that's your way of telling us thank you for doing what we do. And it's one of those things. This is another reason why it's kind of nice to bring Julianne and Liberty on board, to show you that there are faces behind those packages that you're getting, and there is a lot of work that goes on behind packages. How long did it take us to get the Badger ready? What did we have to go through?
I mean, it was like 4 months of
Mhm.
heavy on it.
Yeah.
From the actual logo design to
The sticker
getting-
design that you
Yeah.
went through and edited. We had to get all the supplies and get everything prepped. And whenever we release a new thing, we also we know it's going to be rushed. So we get things as ready as can be.
We're never ready enough.
We're
though,
never
are
ready.
we?
We're never
No.
ready.
I think the post office was, I don't know, they kept wondering why we were taking so many of those white totes. It's because all of us went in and asked for more, and they're just like, what is going
The
on?
whole week before we're stockpiling them. They're like,
Yeah. We're in this little small town of Madison, Indiana. We got this little shop, a few CNC machines, and a little tiny warehouse, which we call the dungeon, and little tiny post office where we all know. It's not many places you go in the post office and you know the names of them. It's a regular face, and they actually say hi and are happy to see you, and that's what we have here.
it's not often that your postal worker can give you a dirty look and you get to take it.
Right, absolutely. Hey, Jim, thank you for another contribution. So I'll chip in for the team lunch. Well, here we go. So that's that. You know what? That's exactly what we'll do with whatever you contribute here. It'll be team lunch. If you guys pile on enough, I'll have to take them out to dinner again. I'll take them out to a Christmas dinner. and
That was fun.
yeah, it was a nice little dinner. The four of us, and all right, let's get to some questions here, and but I want to give you guys CNC brothers and sisters opportunity to ask Julianne and Liberty questions, and offer guidance. Liberty, what would you want to ask as a newer creator? All right, what about learning CNC? We'll put the questions in reverse. We'll throw them back at the crew this time.
Where do you start? Who's your best teacher for me to start with?
Yeah, who was your best teacher? Okay, that's a good question. If they say Garrett at IDC Woodcraft, I mean,
yeah. I kind of played that one.
You know what's funny? When I create videos, all right, Liberty, tell them about the shirts.
Oh. I mean, are you talking about like when you take the same shirt?
Yeah, when I'm working on a video and it's taking me 5 days to do.
Yep. He'll have the
actually
shirt just
informed
like
me of this.
sitting out there draped, and he puts it on, puts back off, puts it on, puts back off, puts it on, puts back off, and then he'll come in and I'm like, wait, weren't you wearing that yesterday? He's like, yeah, I gotta finish that one part.
She told me that when I was first hired, actually. It's like, if you see him in the same shirt, don't worry about it. He's just recording a video.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, on the harder videos that take up the week, that shirt gets pretty ranked by the end of the week, especially in the summertime. So just know I'm suffering as I'm making these videos for you. Okay, so I'm gonna take on a question. Chuck, when you change the number of tool paths, and it always goes back to the default number of tool paths. Why? I use VCarve Pro. Okay, so what you're talking about is actually the naming of your tool path. And when you go in and change the tool path, it loses the name and uses default name again. That is a Vectric issue. That's just the way that the program is written. They have not resolved that, and hopefully they'll resolve that in version 12, which I know they are getting close to coming to a release on that. It's not announced yet, but I know that that's up and coming. So it's one of those little things that all of us have to deal with, unfortunately, with that software. And we got Michael. I have a VCarve desktop version unopened and not registered. Should I just go ahead and get a Spire right away? Best move for the long haul? So let's, Mike, the best answer on that is, if this is your first time in CNC and design work, then you don't need a Spire yet. The difference between VCarve and a Spire is that VCarve does your VCarving, and the Aspire creates 3D models. So you have to learn how to carve and how to work with the design software of VCarve. And then when you want to create 3D models or 2.5D models, then you move up to Aspire. So I would say if you're new, I would not, even in the long haul, it's two different skills altogether. Learning the Vectric software, then learning the 3D modeling. Two totally different skills. Start with the VCarve Pro or VCarve Desktop, whichever one, and then work your way up once you're fine. Put it this way, I've been at this 3 years and I still don't have Aspire. So, okay. I got it. Wow, we got 16 things marked out here. Julianne, she's staying right on top of it.
I'm
All right.
working on it.
Well, let's throw a few more statements out there for you guys, and then we'll bump you off, and I'll take care of some questions. I won't bump them off; they'll keep them in the background, pop them out once in a while. So, anybody would like to give Liberty some suggestions for learning the Vectric software? Yeah, bring it on. I like that. So I'll be waiting for your comments. Here's one from from Chris. He said, work on the basics. Get the best budget can afford. Oh, that has to do with the software. He said, work on the basics first. That's the question regarding Aspire. At your best your budget can afford. And he says that's why he gets IDC Woodcraft bids. What we got? Oh, here you go. Here's the best one. Best one from Rich. Practice this. And Jim said takes Kyle's course, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with Liberty. I'm in Kyle's course, so she's going to take it. She's ready. We have to install it on our computer, so put that on our checklist for tomorrow. Julianne, put that on the notes.
Got it.
I'll write it on my hand.
Yep. All right, girls. We're gonna step back. You guys can keep chewing the fat, and then we'll bring it back out a little bit later. All right, let's get back to questions, brothers and sisters. So I am in an area of questions. I'm not necessarily always looking at the responses that are going on, so I will do my best to do that. But we have Julianne in the background, making sure we got that under control. And so question coming from from Josh. Looking to buy a long mill, working with wood mostly. When you're working with a CNC router, you mostly want to be working with wood or HDPE, which is a plastic, acrylic, the softer materials. Routers spin too fast to think about working with metals. Should I even get the recommended router or just jump into something more expensive? So the most of your benchtop machines, Long Mill is a benchtop, Winfinity is a benchtop, Millwright is a benchtop. They are generally offered with the basics of a trim router like the Makita or a DeWalt or an off-brand. And they are fine, though companies like Makita did not recommend that it is used for CNC. The reason these trim routers are used for CNC is just because of their size, their compact size. But in all reality, they do lack power in certain cases, and they are loud, very loud. You always want to have hearing protection when you're running them, and they burn out. If you hang around the Facebook groups long enough, then you will find out that Makitas give up the ghost, literally. You'll see it from time to time where someone will take a picture or video of it and there's smoke coming out of that Makita. It has seen its day when that happens. So if you plan on doing it a lot, pretty regular, I would just consider perhaps a spindle. I am installing a spindle on mine right now, coming from a company called PWN CNC. And Julianne will put a link in the comments for you so you can take a look. Their spindles, when you select their plug and play kits, it literally, you plug it in to the control box. They've got it set up, so that's all you have to do. And then you can go. Now, of course, there is some stuff you have to do to prepare for it. Like on the long mill, they give you a drag chain. A drag chain is what holds the wires going to any moving parts. And the drag chain is not big enough for the water-cooled spindle, so you have to get a larger drag chain. That will be in the video that I'm creating right now. It'll give you all that information. But if you get the air-cooled unit, then you don't need the bigger drag chain. So spindles are made for this type of work, whereas trim routers that are adapted to CNCs, they're not designed to run for such a long period of time. They're handheld tools. They're designed to run for handheld amounts of time. So I hope that answered your question. Yes, it'll cost you more for the spindle. In the long run, as it's going to hold up a lot longer. And let's see. Oh, we got Harvey. Good evening, everyone. Sorry he's a little late. He sings at churches in the choir, and you have practice on Wednesday night. You're a beginner and want to learn lots of stuff. So Harvey, welcome to not only the world of CNC, which is amazingly creative, but welcome to this community. As you read the comments going by, you'll see that this is more of a family too. People talk to each other, so it's a Wednesday night hangout of us all creators. So I'm gonna readjust my camera just a little bit. There we go. Makes it a little bit easier for me and puts my face right in your camera. Okay. Another question from Paul says, I'm cutting a large profile cut, 2 foot by 4 foot approximately, outline of Michigan, upper and lower peninsula. The material's 1/2 inch MDF, and you're using a 1/4 inch end mill down cutter. Can I use the Beast or Badger, or is it too rough? So the answer on that is the Beast and the Badger are going to give you rough edges. They are designed to remove material really fast. And for those who don't know, the Beast, the Badger, the Hog are what they call roughing end mills. And what they do is they're designed to remove material really quick. As you know, if you've been running CNC projects for a while, that material removal can take quite a bit of time before you get down to your final cuts. And so what those bits are designed to do is to speed up that process. And they are designed to go a lot faster, a lot larger step over, and a lot deeper in one pass. So, but they have a knurled edge to them, or serrated edge. I'm gonna bring one up in the IDC Woodcraft store. So for those who don't know, I can show you exactly what it is. These are very popular bits, and there we go. We can bring that one up. They're very popular bits. I would say, Liberty, how would you? Oh, whoops! There she is, stuff in her face. How popular? How of all the products that we ship out, how much are the Beast, Badger, and Hog? What percentage would you say they are? Oh, you're muted.
The Beast, Badger, Hog, I would say, is like that category alone is 1/3 of our individual bit sales.
1/3. That's how.
All the bits that we have. Like we have what, 40 some odd just
category. Yeah, different types of bits. Yep, we move those ridiculously amount, but that's because they're good bits. They save a ton of time in your work. All right, thanks, Liberty. I'll give you more warning next time.
I won't grab a fry again.
All right. So I was going to bring it up. So let me share. And this is the Beast. And so you can see in the picture, it's got that kind of knurly look in the flutes there. And that's designed to create smaller chips. What it does, it creates less drag on the bit as it turns, and it's got a deeper flute in it, so it has a much higher chip load capability. Chip load is how much chip a flute can handle at one time. For CNC, you've heard of chip load, but you don't really have to worry about it unless you're doing production. Then you want to start consider chip load, but chip load becomes much more important in metal work. So, all right. Let's do another one from Randy. Speaking of lists, question, is there a check sheet which lists the bit and then start short bullet points as to what that bit is best for, i.e. downcut bit? Julianne, will you please make a note for that? I am actually working on a I'm not working on it actively at the moment, but it is in my agenda to create a handbook for CNC router bits. That will give you a lot of information. So on the IDC Woodcraft website, well, I don't have a checklist for that. So Julianne, make a note to work on getting a checklist for that. Good. This is what I love about things like this. Randy, thank you for bringing it up. Is you guys tell me what you need, and that is what I work on. When I see a really good idea like that a beginner would want to see, then that's what I start to work on. I want to provide all the resources for you, like the IDC Woodcraft database, right off the IDC Woodcraft website. You can download it for free, install it in your software. It has all the IDC Woodcraft router bits in it, and in the little notes section, there's links so that if you can't get the bit, or if the bit breaks, it wears out, then you simply click the link. It'll take you right to that product page. Same with the IDC Woodcraft app, which I don't have my phone right now. Go to your app store, Apple or Android, type in IDC Woodcraft, and you'll come up with the IDC Woodcraft CNC router bit app. And that will have a brief description of every bit, and it has all the feeds and speeds for every bit. And you can also purchase bits right from there. I was coming from this perspective when I decided to have this built. Is I get tired of going to the computer, trying to search for the proper tooling that I need. And so I said, you need something convenient. I needed something convenient, and that's why I came up with it. So now you can get your bits right through the IDC Woodcraft app. All right, so Max has a question. Here's my question. When a project is in the cutting process and your CNC powers out due to a power outage, for example, what is the best way to recover your project from where it stopped? All right, Julianne, make a note of this. I get this question often enough that I have to start coming up with some answers. It depends on your software, first of all, your control software. So the question is, if your machine stops in the middle of the cycle because power goes out or something, how do you pick up from that point after the power comes back up? There are some control softwares. When I say control software, that's what's actually running your CNC machine, that will remember and hold that last position if there's an interruption. And then when you restart, it will say, do you want to restart at this point that you left off? So it's recognizing it's reading what is read and it's keeping a note of it, basically. But there are other control software that doesn't. And I believe G-Sender has that feature in it, but I have not looked into that. Last time I was talking to the guys at CNC Labs, I recollect that they said something about that. They are in usually talk to them every 2 weeks, but they've been quite busy lately developing the alt mill and a CO2 laser, which I am so super excited about, and all the other developments they have. By the way, we've ordered another long mill, which is going to have a little label on the front. It's going to say Liberties, baby. Liberties in the background going, yeah. Okay, I do want to say again, muscle chuck. Right. So I'm always getting questions about the muscle chuck. If you don't know what that is, it's a quick change tool that, you have to use the wrenches to replace your CNC router bits. And it's one of those little evils that we have to struggle with, right? You're trying to hold the bit, you're holding two wrenches, and you're just trying to manipulate a little bit more than what we like. And it's one of those necessary inconveniences, but now they've got the muscle chuck, which is literally a two-handed operation where you use a wrench, you release the bit, and the other hand, you grab the bit, put the other bit in, and with the wrench, just tighten it back up. And when I made a video about that, we got swamped with requests. So right now, IDC Woodcraft stocks the muscle chuck for the Makita router only. I am in touch with Joe, the guy that owns Muscle Chuck, about one for the ER20 spindle. What they have at one for the ER20 collet, but it's 1/2 inch. and no one with a benchtop has 1/2-inch tooling. So I told him, Joe, we need a 1/4-inch. And so he's working on that now. So that's not even out there yet. But when it gets out, I will be the first to let you know. If you have a ER20 on your machine, then when that 1/4-inch comes out, I will announce that. The spindle I'm putting on my machine is an ER20 collet. So, yeah, it's kind of nice to be the point man on saying, wait a minute, this is what we need. You got that, but we need this. So then there's another new product. Like I said, I've got 2 products I'm working on. So CNC Insiders, if you're on the IDC Woodcraft CNC Insiders email list, you will start to get notified about what it is and when it's coming out. When I have products, when I'm being a distributor for other companies like Muscle Chuck or Widget Works, the diamond engraver, there's usually agreements that there aren't discounts on those. And so that's why those are usually not discounted unless I agree, we come up with an agreement as a distribution partner. But things that I have direct control over, my OEM equipment, the router bits, and other accessory stuff, CNC Insiders get a discount on when I release it. So I got another product I'm getting ready to work on. It's going to be a couple more months. Some of you will want it, some of you won't, but you won't know what it is until I start telling you exactly what it is. But I'm excited. It's a tool that we need, that all of us need to have in our toolbox when we're doing CNC work. I do want to share one other thing. Most of you know that on a quarterly basis, sorry, I'm talking so much, my throat's getting scratchy. On a quarterly basis, IDC Woodcraft donates to St. Jude. And so last year, and up to Q3, and I figured out after each quarter what we'll donate for that quarter. And for Q3, by the time we're done, we have donated $22,000. Now, it was $21,000 to St. Jude and $1,000 to an organization called Missing Alexis. So all of us know what St. Jude is. Well, for those of you who are not familiar with the United States, St. Jude is a well-known research hospital for children with cancer. And the big thing about them is when children that are there, the families do not have any bills whatsoever. They put the families up, and they're always working on finding cures for cancer for kids. So we finally worked out Q4. And so what I am going to be donating to you, to St. Jude this year, I'm going to bring up the picture if I can find it. And where's the picture? It's not showing, so I'll have to close the picture. So we are donating $6,000 to St. Jude and $2,000 to Missing Alexis, thanks to you. And I just wanted to show you this picture just to show you, because it's kind of nice to say, you know what, this is it. And you can see it firsthand that we are donating this, but I have to be able to show it. There you go. There you go. We got the check to St. Jude for $6,000, which was sent out today, and Missing Alexis Foundation, which will be given to them in person on February 3rd. The whole team is invited to a dinner with them because we donated to them last time. The reason I donate to St. Jude is because my niece had cancer when she was 6. I did a live interview with her on New Year's Eve. And my daughter, the reason I donate to Missing Alexis is my daughter. Well, Missing Alexis is a foundation that supports parents who have lost their children. And my daughter was one of them. So that's the story with that. So we have hit our $30,000 goal for 2020. 2023. And I am really, really happy about that. And so, girls, I'm going to bring you out and ask, what do you think about us being a part of something like that?
For me, it's huge because you don't often get to work for a company and get to be so involved in a part of giving back. And I have personal connections to the feeling of donating towards the organizations that you've chosen as well. So it just feeds my soul.
Cool. What about you, Julia?
Well, coming from 8 years of working in a nonprofit background, it's just continuing on giving back to a community and just a group of people that really needs it. So, just whether it's monetary or supporting them just in their ventures, it's just fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. And it feels good to be able to do that. It's, it's nice to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. We're part of this amazing CNC community, and this is a bunch of a community of givers, right? And that's, and then to help the world at large. What better can you do? Well, thank you, girls, for sharing your thoughts. I'm calling them girls or ladies. They are in command. They were wearing the pants at IDC Woodcraft. I just do what they say. All right. Let's see. We're going to go to Max. We talked about the power outage. I'd never finished. Sometimes, if you don't have that capability to figure about if you lose position or if your power turns off and you're in the middle of a carve, sometimes you have to do your best just to try that point in the program. And unfortunately, you have to edit G code sometimes. I don't have a short answer for that. I wonder if anybody else has answered that in the dialogue there. But sometimes I have just restarted the carve. And if it's way in like a 3D type of carve, I do my best to find the position. I'll just go through the G code and I'll know that I have a 0 point. My start point, like the lower left corner, is my 0 point. And I can look through the code and I can say, okay, this endpoint was approximately 5 inches over and 2 inches up. And so I can look for those points in the code. However, that can be complicated if you have multiple passes. Like you have your first pass, it steps down, cleans everything out. Then it takes second pass, it steps down and cleans everything out. And it stops somewhere in the second pass. There's so much code to try to figure out that sometimes it's not worth trying to pick it back up at that point. Reset your Z, reset your X, Y at your 0 point, drop your Z down just a hair below what you had it at, and start your carve again. That's probably the best way to do it, especially if you're not well versed in G code. So thank you for asking that question. And next one is from Jen. Hello, Jen. How you doing, sister? Jen is another long timer of this community, and she's also a member of Women Who CNC. Now the person who is normally with me, our CNC sister Kate Tucker of Women Who CNC, runs a Facebook group called Women Who CNC, and it is a private group for women only. So any woman who is wants to get into or does CNC work is welcome to join that Facebook group. But if you are not a woman, then you are not allowed in. And she does that. I agree with what she does because it makes it a safer place for women to work. They just talk different, right? They talk different than we do, and so it's a really awesome idea. And even Vectric has recognized that she's doing that. So Very cool. Thanks to one of our CNC brothers out there who brought her to their attention. And so also, if you want one-on-one help with your Vectric software, in the description of this video down below, there's like a half of a sentence and there's a word more. Hit the word more and the description will open up partway, and then there'll be a word more again, and it'll open up all the way. And in that description has links for everything, how to set up a one-on-one with Kate. I don't know if we have the Beast or Badger in that, but Julianne, put the Badger link into the comments. Since we were talking about the Badger and the Beast, you might as well throw them in there. Okay, so speaking of Beast and Badger, Jen is asking, are the Hog, Beast, and Badger good for profile cuts? Are they suited for pocket clearance? So a little bit of one and a lot of the other. And the question is, so what I mean by that, we talked about the Beast, the Hog, and the Badger. They are roughing bits, and they're not designed for clean cuts. They're designed to remove material. And then generally the rule of thumb, and I'm going to make a video about this because I get this question all the time, is you offset that cut just a little bit from the finish line of your project. Say that you're carving this rectangle here, and just say it's a pocket inside of you're making a bowl, a square bowl, and that's a lot of material to remove that bowl. So you use the roughing bit to hog it out really fast, and you come back with your upcut, downcut, your compression end mill, and you finish that. You just do one last cut, but you need to offset the roughing bit just a little bit so it leaves a little bit of material for that last cut. And so the Hog, Beast, and Badger are primarily designed for when you have to remove a lot of material. It's just designed to cut down the time. If you have deep profile cuts, they are also very good for making it doesn't have to be a deep profile cut. They're very good for making profile cuts, but again, you want to offset, because if you cut through with those, you're going to be left with this serrated kind of feel. Like, you know what a quarter looks like. A US quarter's got the serrations. Well, think about rotating those serrations, and they're just all around the project. So they're designed for speed. They're not designed for prettiness. You can use them for those, particularly if you are cutting out a lot of things off of one panel. Like you're making coasters and you're using a 4x8 sheet and you're cutting 100 coasters out of it. By all means, what I would do is profile out every coaster with the Hog, the Beast, or the Badger with an offset, because it'll go so fast and it moves off to the next, but you're not cutting all the way through. You're just cutting almost all the way through. And then you'll come back in with your down cut or your compression bit and make your final cleanup pass all the way through, and that'll finish the job. So I just want to reiterate, those bits are there to remove material. They're not there to do pretty cuts. You can use them for either one of these, a profile or a pocket, but they're not going to leave a pretty edge. That's you got to come back in with another bit. Like I said, I will create a video about that because I get that question a lot. Thank you for bringing that up, Jen. Let's see. Where are we at? Lyle Luttrell. How's it going, Lyle? Question: what adapter do I need for using the Badger with the muscle chuck? Okay, good question. I'm going to bring that up on the website. Julianne, that's something maybe you can do in the future to help out, is get those prepared on the site, and then you can share the screen, but I will take care of that for now. And I'm going to go to Collets, and I'm going to share my screen once I can get back to this. The question is, what collet do you need? All right. And we are going to go to collets. All right. So what you're looking at right now is the collets page on IDC Woodcraft. And this here is the muscle chuck. When you select the muscle chuck, One of the things you'll see in here, and it's not there. We must be out of the collets at the moment. Let me come back. I got to find it. Here we go. So it's the high precision 1/4 inch by 1/8 reducing collet. This is the one that you want to use. It has a you can type in the search bar in the top. You can type in CL-P-48, and that will come up. CL-P-48, or you can type in collet and that will come up. But that's the exact one that you want to use in the muscle chuck. It's got this lip on it that prevents it from sliding all the way up and through into the top of the muscle chuck, where you'd actually have to take it off. Speaking of muscle chucks, again, we had them in stock. We got them in stock yesterday, and they were already sold out. So you've got to jump on them. We are, Julianne, they shipped them today, or just nod your head? Today, tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow, Muscle Chuck is shipping us 75 more. And what you need to do, I got to share the screen again. If you want one of these products that's out of stock, this is a product page. There's going to be this big red button that's going to show up when it's out of stock. Click that red button, and what that's saying is notify me when it's available. And put in your email address and your phone number, and you will get a text and an email, and it will tell you. So if you want this, go take care of that. We're getting 75 more. I'm going to bring Liberty back on board. Hi, Liberty.
Hello.
How long are the muscle chucks going to last when they go get back in stock?
Not even a day. Not even a day.
These are hot.
These ones didn't last a full 12. No, they lasted like 18 hours maybe.
We put them on inventory of 5 yesterday, and
they were out by 10.
By 10. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was overnight too, so half the people were asleep, the rest of the day. So get yourself on that list. When we inventory, thanks, Liberty. When we inventory them, you will get notified. So the muscle chuck is working on it. So I don't remember if Roger, did I bring Roger out before, Julianne? No, okay. There was another R up there, but so Roger has given us $20 donated to us. Awesome team. Appreciate you all, or all of you. And so we got Liberty and Julianne here, and they're sitting on the sidelines. And just, it's good to bring them on board so that you understand that there are other people, their faces behind what we do. And there's a lot of work that goes on to get things ready. We have probably, Liberty, I'm going to bring you out again. How many router bits? How many bits do we have sitting in inventory that we still have to label up?
Oh, that we still have to label up. Currently, I believe we're sitting. I think we've got like 500 of those, 500 of those, 200 of those. So like 1,500-ish.
1,500-ish.
Oh no.
No, you got another box of 1,000 sitting there.
Yes, yeah. So I think we're closer to 3,000 right now.
Right.
I have some behind me waiting for after the live.
Yeah, and so there has to be a dedicated person doing that. And so when we have downtime, that's what these girls are doing. And this is the value of the team, right? The Liberty and Julianne, they come walking in the morning, they got boxes in their hands going, what's that? Well, bits I took home and labeled, right? These guys are dedicated. They're taking the stuff home. They'll do it at home. This is what we do. It's just what goes on, right? There's a lot of work. I'm doing the same thing, being here tonight. And these guys are here tonight too. So thanks, Liberty. You'll be back. So Roger, thank you. There is an awesome team. How Roger donated. This is the IDC Woodcraft channel. And down below the video, there's a little button somewhere that where it's called a super sticker or something like that. And you can contribute a little bit of that. And I think it was Chris that said, or someone said that take these guys out to dinner, right? So buy them coffee, and so now we're at about $60. So it looks like we're getting close to a good solid lunch now. Getting close to dinner. I will definitely take them to dinner. Thank you again, Roger. Okay, so I have been in the back end here. I've got this column where I can see you guys are talking, and there's two columns I can pick from. The one is where we have picked out comments to bring out to my attention, and Julianne takes care of that. Then the other is where you guys are randomly talking. So the last time I looked at that was about 10 minutes ago, and there's been 144 comments since. So you guys are talking up a storm. I'm going to pop over a little bit. Looks like Liberty's talking to some people there. Mark is making some comments, and Michael made a comment. They're lucky to have hardworking women like that. I really am. Now, I want to tell you that I know what I want IDC Woodcraft to be. Going into this myself 3 years ago into the CNC router space, and all the little things that I found as problems, trying to find the right router bits. Which ones do I get? Which machine do I get? What software do I get? How do I work the software? How do I set my machine up? All these questions are the journey that everybody goes through. And when I started realizing that, I made it my mission. I'm going to solve every one of these questions. Come hell or high water, I'm going to put together a program that's going to walk you through. And that's what all the videos I've done have been based on. The problem is these videos aren't really sorted. I have an old list of all the videos. I did sort them, but I've made many since. But there's also the one-on-one things that go on. And the time that there's only one of me and a million of you. And well, there's three of us actually, and four of us and a million of you. And our hands are all full. And so it's my job to streamline this and put together a nice little system. And that means I need help, right? And I need people who know CNC, they know certain things, or they have the teacher's spirit. They want to be part of IDC and what it's going to be doing, because I'm going to be putting together a whole thing. I'm going to I am connecting with the companies. And by the way, Mark, I did make contact, and this little side thing with Mark, directly to you, Mark. He made a suggestion. I made contact, and we are on our way of creating a good thing. What I'm talking about is another CNC related company that we all know very well. And I want to get all these companies together, because the way I view it, we have a machine, we have the tooling, we have the software. And all these companies, they generally deal in their own little space. The router bit companies just deal with router bits. They may show you a little bit about other stuff. Software companies, they know the software. They're going to show you about their software. They'll show you a little bit about the other stuff, meaning machine and the tooling. And then, of course, there's the machine companies that teach you all about their machines. But they at the end of the day, none of us can live without each other. If any one of these industries, the tooling industry, drops off, the software in the machine is worthless. Right? If the machine drops off, the tooling companies and the software companies are worthless. We can't exist without each other. And it's my duty to bring us all together to create a very constructed, how do you say, a nice flow to teach people. And it's going to be bringing people on board to IDC Woodcraft, either directly or indirectly. And we all work together to develop courses and create a path for you that's going to work for you, teach you from zero all the way up to becoming an expert. The finished work, we had Ray Kinman on, and then turn it into a business. I'm going to be putting together a business course and some coaching. So anyway, doing a lot of talking, but then Gary said, you love my short videos. If you haven't noticed, IDC Woodcraft has been cranking out the shorts lately on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And we were doing one a day, and now we are doing 2 a day. And it's fun. It's fun to be out there. All right. Let's get back to some questions. Looks like the girls are talking in the background too, huh? All right. What are you saying? Dropping 75 to 200. Okay. They're talking to me, and I wasn't even reading their comments to me. All right. Charlie. Oh, by the way, we're at 9:10, so we're not taking any more questions, right? Because there's a bucket full of questions right now. I have 22 of them on my in my queue. So, any update on the muscle chuck for Bosch routers? Write that down, Julian. I'll ask Joe or send Joe an email and ask him if he's working on that one too. We'll look into that. The way I see it, with all the muscle chuck comments I've been getting, we are going to ultimately have muscle chucks for virtually everything that's out there. IDC Woodcraft, I can clearly see that this is going to be a full-blown aspect of the business. And so eventually we will be tooled up with muscle chucks for all the spindles. And we got one other, a couple others here. Again, girls, I guess we're all going out to dinner. So we got Bakeville Boys has given us $19.99 out pitching for the team beverages. Okay, well, girls, now you're drinking. All right, we're going to bring you guys out. And so then there's a couple more here. So they have now donated enough to take you guys out to dinner. And of course, Adam will be included, as he is the guy that does the video work in the background, the person you see the least of, because he's on the other side of the camera.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yep. We got a couple more sitting out here too. So Darren has given us $20.
Wow.
Geez, guys, where do you want to go to eat? Do you want to go to Harry's or do you want to go to Red? These are two nice restaurants that are here. Harry's is a steakhouse.
I was gonna say we went to Red for Christmas, so we could mix it up and go somewhere different.
Yeah. So Darren, thank you. So and there's one more. Jim, he said, well, you see where we're going now, Jim. Well, these guys are turning it into a game. Yeah. I mean, thank you. So what? It's turned into fun, but you're also supporting us. Thank you all. What they do on the IDC Woodcraft channel at the bottom of the screen is there's a thumbs up button, which I hope that you press. There's a little super sticker button, and then of course in the comments below that there is in the description there is a lot of links in the description. What else do I have? All right, well, girls, I'll bump you back out and bring you back in when we need to. Okay. Question. Thank you again for the very generous contributions. You have just bought. I think you've almost made us for dinner here. And there's 4 of us. So, but I can cover the rest. All right. JT Precision is my middle name. I like that. I was looking at the description of the Badger, and it says that it is a high-speed bit. I thought that your bits were all carbide and not less. Am I wrong? All right, you misread what that meant. All my bits are carbide. So you're thinking high-speed steel. It's a very good point, and I'll have to take a look at it because I don't want my text on my website to be misleading. Give a little education. So, JT, thank you for bringing that up. No, everything is carbide. There's 2 types of router bits that IDC Woodcraft carries when it comes to the cutting tools. The first one is solid carbide. Anything that's a 1/4 inch or under in cutting diameter is solid carbide. If anything is wider, what I call wide body bits, so you have your wider V groove bits, or but they have a 1/4 inch shank, but the body is wider. those are braised tip bits. And what that means is the body is made of 4140 steel, a harder steel, but it's a steel that can ultimately bend. The cutting edges are carbide and they're braised onto the tool. So that is pretty standard when you're doing that. I do have a sample V-bit that is 1/2 inch diameter solid carbide and is ground down to a 1/4 inch shank. I just haven't tested those bits yet, but it's solid carbide and it'd be a very long life bit for the larger bits. So the difference is high-speed steel is what your drill bits are made of for your drills. High-speed steel is a flexible steel, and it's designed to be flexible because all of us, when we're drilling holes with our hand drill, we always going like this or flexing that drill bit. And so the high-speed steel is perfect because it doesn't break. It can handle some flexing. All right, Bart, good to see you back, my brother Bart. Bart has been around the IDC Woodcraft channel since almost the day it started. The question, does some of you have experience with FreeCAD? So he's asking everybody else if anybody else has had experience with FreeCAD. I hope somebody has answered that question. I have never touched FreeCAD, so I couldn't tell you. And our brother Mark has a question. He says, what is the hardest part of learning to use the Vectric software? Guess who's coming on board, Liberty? That's a good question. I'll let her answer what she knows, then I'll answer you what I know.
I will. So we're talking about like the files and all that,
or just learning the Vectric software in general. What did you find was one of the more challenging things as I was starting to teach you?
I would say just like getting from just the image to like it actually being on the machine, like learning the different things that I had to do the back and forth. Like my brain wanted to keep the two separate of like playing with the file versus putting it into a tool path in the machine and stuff like that.
Okay.
I would say setting it up to the actual project versus just playing with the file, because I've played with files all day long.
Right.
That was hard.
Okay, cool. So in my experience, I think for me, the idea of looking forward into what you want to create and then pulling it backward in time to making design. So you're taking your imagination, you're creating, you're trying to get it out on this design. And a lot of times when we have this idea in our head, we don't necessarily know how to place it and put it into a design. Right?
Exactly.
And that was one of the challenges. And then the other one is understanding the concepts of, I want to say nodes, but I don't think nodes but nodes is one of those things that you don't ever hear of until you actually get into it. And then you have to wrap your head around that. Yeah. The hardest part of learning Vectric was to back up for me. The hardest part was to not want to create the most complex project right out of the gate. Many people, yeah, it's normal. We see all these cool things that people create, and the first thing we want to do is, I want to create that, and we come into it not realizing that there's a lot to learn. It's like anything else. You got to learn to crawl, then you learn to walk, then you learn to run, and then you learn to fly the jet plane and jump out of it. All right. All right. Thank you for your input. Anything else on that one, Liberty?
No, nodes. I will say nodes were really hard. Still learning them. Still don't understand them.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay. Thanks, Liberty. All right. So thanks for asking that question, Mark. I will just reiterate this for any of those who are brand new to CNC. We all want to make the best things right now, but in life, it's like anything else, there's a skill here. And just because I came with the impression that, oh, this is going to be a lot easier than what it actually was. But that's why people like me and Mark Lindsay and Kate Tucker are out there creating content to teach you how to do that. That's why Kyle Ely has created a course with the Vectric software. The toughest part is the design work. Right. Once you got that down, then it certainly gets a lot easier. If you're trying to figure out the Vectric software by yourself, and you're one of those ones like I was, you think that you can just figure it out, don't do that, because what you'll do is you'll figure out how to do some stuff, and then you'll jump into trying to create something, and you're going to run into lots of problems. And the reason you run into problems because things were going on that you need to make sure you take care of in the design before you get to the carve, and that requires knowing the basics. And that's why I am always saying, learn from those who teach you. Your design software is something you have to know before you start carving. You have to design. Your machine won't do anything until you have a design. And so I always recommend Kyle Ely's course. It's the only Vectric course that's out there. And learn your CNC. Many creators have done it already. And many of the brothers and sisters who are on this channel right now are taking his course, and they will tell you, as a matter of fact, put in the comments what you think they should do when they're learning this Vectric software. In the description of the video is a link to Kyle's webpage, so you can check that out. It's a full-blown course. It'll take you from zero all the way up to expert with the Vectric software. I do recommend that you do that. Thank you, Mark, for bringing that up. Crosscut Creations question. I'm working on a project where the vectors are joined, but I need to adjust the small section of said project. Is there a way to unjoin vectors in order to isolate the part I want to work on? Yes, there is. And I'm going to pop you back off. So I'm going to bring up a Vectric design. Okay, we'll bring up my welcome sign. That's what I got here right now. And is it showing? There's not. I'm going to have to close that. I have to reopen it. So just give me a minute. And let's launch it again. Vectric. Welcome sign. Bring that up. Okay, we're going to bring up. I'm really enjoying having Liberty and Julianne on board. That's very, very cool. Okay, so here's a project that I have. It's actually one that I sell on Etsy, the file, and you get it as this. It does not have tool paths, right? This is one where you work it out yourself. But I do have a video on it, and you get instructions with it. Okay, so you want to isolate something. So here's how you do this. Let's say we got this. I'm going to just delete some things real quick. I'm not going to save this. So I'm just going to get them out of the way. All right, so we've got this line here with the swirlies. And let's say I want these swirlies isolated from this rectangle around the welcome. Well, what you do is we are going to zoom way in, and this is about nodes, Liberty. So you're going to learn something, and everyone else. So I have selected that line, and you can see that the whole thing is one closed vector. The difference, what a closed vector is I can start running my finger from any point on this line, and I can follow the line, and I will never come to an end point. That is a closed vector, just like a circle or a rectangle. An open vector is a line, curve, arc that has a start point and an end point. So we're going to come into this. Now, I work with Vectric. I don't work with any of the other design software. While I have the line selected, I'm going to press the letter N for Nancy on the keyboard. And all these nodes come up. Right? Nodes are simply transition points of lines and curves. So let's say I want to isolate this the rectangle from the swirly. What I'm going to do is we are right at the junction point, and I'm going to hover on the right black node. I'm going to hover my mouse right over that node, and it's going to turn from a little pointy thing to a little square target. And I believe it's letter C, stands for cut. And I hit the C, and that was, did I do it? I think I did. And then I'm going to go to the other black one and hit the letter C. And what I have now done is, you notice all the nodes went away from the swirly, but I still have nodes on the rectangle. Now I'm going to hit the letter N again, and that's going to turn the node command off. And and now you see that the swirly is no longer selected. That is because it is a completely isolated vector from the rectangle now. What I did was I hovered over the node and I hit the C button on my keyboard, and that cut that node. That actually separated the two lines at that join point of the node. So now what I can do is I can select that swirly, and I'm hitting my arrow keys on my keyboard, and now I can completely move it away and work on it however I want. I don't have to move it away, but it gives me the freedom to work on the swirly without working or screwing up the rectangle. So that is how we do that. I'm going to close this and not save this because I don't want to screw up that file. That's a file that I provide to you. So I hope that question has helped a lot of people out. Liberty, did you get something out of that? She nodded her head yes. All right, Julianne, you get something out of that? She nodded her head yes. All right. Jim, how's it going? I'm brand new. You have a question. First of all, welcome to the amazing world of CNC. There's a shout out to Jim. You have jumped into a huge creative family. So many people are here to help. How does ATC work with the tool paths, VCarve and Laguna, and what have you? Okay, so ATC stands for Automatic Tool Changer. An ATC, or an automatic tool changer, is basically what they call a magazine, right? It's like in a gun, you have a magazine. A magazine holds lots of bullets. On the CNC machine, the magazine holds a lot of tools. And you can have a round tool changer, or a round magazine, or a straight magazine. And there's programming inside the machine that will bring you allow the machine to change the tool. And so I had to get back to that question. So Julian, you popped it out on me. But how does it work with VCarve? You don't have to bring it back. It's really important in all your design software that's going to write the G code for your tool changer, that every tool has an independent number. Now, independent tool number, that means I got to bring Vectric back in, and I will I think I got to launch it again. So hang on. All right, so I'm going to go back to Vectric. If you have an ATC in your machine, every tool has to have a tool number. Now, the IDC Woodcraft database, when we add a new router bit to it, we automatically add a new tool number to it for this very reason. We're going to bring up the welcome sign. Doesn't really matter what I bring up. I'm going to go to the router, the tool database, and I'm going to select a router bit, and I hope this is showing up properly. But for those that use Vectric software, this looks very familiar to you. And what you're looking at on the left is all the IDC Woodcraft router bits. This is the database for the Vectric software that you get for free off the IDC Woodcraft website. Go to the website, right at the top, there's on the menu, it says database downloads. Click that and you can get the Vectric database. And we are always updating it. Also for Carveco, Fusion 360, and Carbide Create. All right, so down at the very bottom of every tool, the very last item in this field where you have populated data, it says tool number. And if you have a tool changer, every router bit has to have a different tool number so that when your machine calls up a tool change, your post processor is going to know that you have a machine with a with a tool changer because the post process has been written that way. So what's going to happen is it's going to do the first carve with your 1/4-inch roughing bit, the beast, and then you're going to come in with the 1/4-inch down cutter after that to do your cleanup cut. So the beast has to be numbered 1, and the down cutter then has to be numbered 2. Both of them cannot be numbered 1 because it'll mess up your carve. What will happen is the machine, because it's calling up tool number 1, it's going to go do a tool change, and it's going to just grab the same tool and come back out. So the distinctive difference is the tool number has to be different for every single router bit that's populated in your database. So another reason to get the IDC Woodcraft database, we've already taken care of that for you. All right, I'm going to stop sharing, come back. Okay, now we got Bob and Annalise. All right, you're on Facebook. So just so you know, most people are dialoguing in the IDC Woodcraft YouTube channel, so you can pop over here. But let's answer this here. What is a finishing bit you recommend? Well, there are multiple finishing bits. So I'm going to say, well, it depends on what you're doing. If you're just doing a straight cut, then you're going to use, generally, I would use a down cutter if you're cutting along edges, meaning like you're carving the edges of letters, or you're doing a cutout. I would use a down cutter. That's going to prevent tear out at the top corner of the thing. Tear out is when it's pulling the fibers up at the corner of the wood where it's cutting away. If you have an upcut, it's going to rip up the fibers. There's also a compression bit, which is designed specifically for actually doing a cutout profile. A compression bit has down cut capability and upcut capability. Down cut on the top, upcut on the bottom. And so that prevents tear out on the top and the bottom. And basically, every IDC Woodcraft, every router bit that I have is a finishing bit, with the exception of the beast, the badge, or the hogger, the hog. So any one of those bits would be a finishing bit. There's a big question to answer. It's all of them are, other than the hog and the beast and the badger. All right, Paul. Follow up: is the 1/4-inch end mill down cutter the best bit, and the 70 inches per minute? You just don't want to burn your bit. So, depending on the machine you have, bench tops, you can generally do 70, 80, and you'll be fine. Right? The IDC Woodcraft database is set a little conservative for those who are just getting into it. And then you can increase the feed rates in the database as you move along. This is fine. You can get it up to 80 inches per minute. 70 is a good average to start with. You won't burn up the bit as long as your RPMs aren't up too high. That's so on the IDC Woodcraft app, the phone app, let's say you have a Makita router. You go into the phone. I'm going to get my phone. Hang on, Julian. I'm going to bring you out. You and Liberty can talk for a minute while I go get my cell phone. Say something to them all.
Liberty, you're muted. I was muted. Nobody can hear a thing.
Man alive. 2 seconds into the job when we failed. How's it going,
And he's
guys?
already back now. He's back.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna show off my
bombed.
Women Who CNC sweatshirt anyways.
Oh, there you go.
I put that on earlier when you were talking about it.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Well, I just threw you guys out there to
We were both muted.
do that.
Like, I could have pulled up the app on mine. I've got
Well,
it.
I could have done that. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Next time we'll do that. All right. Okay. Thanks, girls. Okay. So on the IDC Woodcraft app, when you load it up, it looks like kind of like that. There's a lot more color to it than what you're seeing. You can swipe up and you can pick a router bit, whatever you want. You go find the router bit that you want. You can type in the search bar what you're looking for. And as you scroll down, the first, so you can't really see the picture. It's pretty bleached out from the camera, but it's the 60-degree wide body V-bit. And then there's a description, and then you can add it to your cart. You can get it right there if you need to get it. And down below, there's some selections here. And that you can, let's say you've got the Makita. You hit the spindle. First of all, you can set inches or millimeters. You can click the spindle button and select one of your machines. So we got the Makita RT0701, which is the most common one that you're going to find. Select that. And that's going to tell you the speed dial that should be set on to run that on the Makita. And if you have a regular spindle, it's going to give you the RPMs. If you have a DeWalt, you have a Bosch, that's in there. And you also have a selection for the type of wood you're working with. Now, I've been asked to put all kinds of lumber in that wood thing. There's hundreds and hundreds of different types of wood. So we've got in there what we're going to work with. Then you have your feeds and speeds information. Then you have the router bit data that's there. So IDC Woodcraft CNC router bit app for Apple and Android. It's free from your app store. And coming back to Paul's question, you shouldn't burn up your bit at that speed. If it is, then you are turn your spindle speed down. All right. Michael, do I have a PDF file for all my bits with all sizes, feeds, etc.? I can't use the VTBD extension. Just get the router bit app. It'll all be right in there. I do not have a PDF. We would be constantly updating that PDF constantly if we had that. So it works much better this way. I just want to go over to all the comments that are going on right now. Rich said, Paul, it all depends on the material that you're using, which is very much correct. To give you an example, I have a Phantom CNC router, right, which is a pro level machine, and I can run my 3/8 compression end mill at 3/4 of an inch deep at 240 inches per minute, right? Much of it depends on your machine as well. So bench tops can't handle that rate; they're not designed for it, but pro level machines can, and the router bits at IDC Woodcraft can handle that as well. Bits burn and break for a multitude of reasons. And one of those reasons is if the rigidity of your machine, right? So your pro level machines they're big, they got a lot of mass to them. There's not a lot of deflection that can go on with them, or a lot of vibration that can be transferred back and forth from the spindle down to the router bit. So looking at some of the comments in here, the girls are taking care of you guys. They're talking to you all. So thank you, girls, keeping them busy while they're dialoguing. Sam, is there an IDC bit for thread mill operation? No, but I am getting to that. A thread mill will be added this year. I am talking to the tooling, one of my tooling companies now about having one designed up. But what I need to really study first is the thread pitch that we generally want to work with, and so what that means, thread pitch is what's the distance between the peak of each thread. So threads are V-shaped, so you have a distance from one top of the thread to the next, and then how deep the threads are, right? But so there's several things I need to work on, and what people generally want to make with them. So here's what you can help me with, is tell me what you want to make with a thread mill. And that will help me decide and determine what we want to get. Rich, just a note for all the new CNCers out there. Garrett's assortment of bits for the beginner is a great way to start. Well, thank you, Rich, for saying that. And what Rich is talking about is the this is the starter set that I have. Let's see, I don't want to bring that one out yet. I'm going to share with you what he's talking about. And we're going to be coming out with a new starter set. We've been actually talking about it for about 5 months. It's right at the top of the website, the ultimate starter set for beginners. Now that's a slider. So there's the beast. There's an essential router bit set. The router bit set that I recommend when you go to the sets on the website is the very first one, the most complete CNC router bit starter set. And that has all the stuff that you will need to start off with virtually all the carves when you're starting out. You will get more bits as you move along, but this is the set that's going to get you started. So it's the only truly complete router bit set because nobody else has what's in this set. I mean, there's one other that's very close, but you've got the surfacing bit, you've got the collets, you've got the 16th inch, you got the 8th inch, you got to throw a free bit in with it as well. So, and I give you a bunch of files with that as well. I think you get 7 design files, and they all have instructions to help get you kickstarted from a very simple Christmas block to other things as you move along. And so let's see, Brian, someone who has run CNC mills for 20 years, would you recommend limit switches for the MK2? Julianne, put on a list for me to write an article about when to get limit switches and when not. So limit switches or proximity sensors, what those do is they set a home position for the machine. So when you turn the router on, if you have limit switches, the machine is automatically going to move to a certain position. And that is going to be what they call the machine reference point or the machine home. And you want limit switches on that if you plan on placing your projects in the same locations multiple times. We don't have enough time to dive into it here based on the questions I have left. But I'm going to say if you're getting a long mill just as a hobby and you're just going to play around once in a while, no, you don't need them. If you're planning on eventually doing repetitive type of work or multiple types of jobs, yes. If you want convenience of always knowing a zero location, a start point, if you design and you have a lower left corner as your start point, and it's always at a certain location in your machine, then yes, get the switches. So this long mill that I purchased for Liberty, that has homing switches on it. It's got the sensors. So we can do that, and I can train her on how to work with those. All right, Bob and Annalise. I use 1/4-inch downcut for rough and a 1-inch, 1.0 for fine for detail. Does that sound good? I've had the Bob CNC Quantum for about a year. So using a 1.0 for fine detail. So 1/4-inch downcut will work for roughing. By the way, the Bobs will not handle the beast or the hog very well because it's a wood frame machine, and the hog and the beast it'll work with the Badger, but they're very aggressive bits. And they are putting a lot of torque on your spindle. So when you say 1.0, that's to me a 1-inch. And I know that most CNC routers struggle with the bench tops. 1 inch is about the limit you can go. So I'm assuming they're saying a 0.1. A 1/4-inch downcut for rough cut, and you can use that for rough cut and you can use it for finish work. So yes, it does work. I need a little more information, and that 1.0 has thrown me off. I'm not quite sure what that means. So if you can make a comment, correct that, and Julianne, just watch for that. Don, question: will the O-flute cut 0.2 aluminum sheet stock? So I have not tested it for aluminum sheet stock. Julianne, write that down. I get enough people asking about aluminum. The thing with, I gotta say this again. Um, CNC routers are not designed to cut metal. You can do thin aluminum. I know you can. But aluminum is a metal that will gall up. What that means, it's going to just get real gummy and it's going to stick to your router bit. And it's so hard to get off when it does that. Metals, they're not built for metals because they turn too fast. If you don't set your feeds and speeds right, you will burn up your router bit really quick or you'll break it really fast. But 0.02 is pretty thin. I will have to check with the O-flute on aluminum sheeting. So we'll get a little aluminum sheet in and check it out. I'll come up with feeds and speeds for that. If it's, I had that designed for acrylic. So I'll look at it and let you know. Let's see, I can close that one out. Is there any chance, Jim, any chance they'll work on a muscle chuck that'll fit the PWN spindle? Yeah, we're working on all that. Right now, I have one for my PWN spindle. I got a muscle chuck for it, but it's a 1/2-inch shank. And benchtop owners don't have 1/2-inch tooling. So that's an issue. All right, Brian. Great program. Thanks to all who contribute. Yes, thank you. And so we have been donated, I guess, about $100 now. 120. What have we been given? So this is buying the girls and Adam lunch and they're buying them dinner now. And so, but anyway, this is a way that people say thank you to us sometimes, and the way they do that is on the IDC Woodcraft YouTube channel. Just below it, there's like a little button, a super sticker. Again, I want to remind you down below in the description, there's lots of links. We have now donated $6,000 more to St. Jude, and $2,000 is going to the Missing Alexis Foundation. So $8,000 altogether being donated for Q4 of 2023. That enabled me to hit the goal that I wanted to hit, which was $30,000 donation to services that need donations, right? So that would make $27,000 to St. Jude and $3,000 to Missing Alexis. So thank you all. And we're coming up to the top of the hour. I got 3 more questions, and I'm going to bring this out. Let's see. Darren, can you use the muscle chuck on Carbide 3D router with the ER11 collet? I was talking to him today about that, but I'm not necessarily sure that we've got that worked out. They are sending me samples on that. So I want to make sure. that I can't answer that right now, but we get enough ER11 collets that Julian has noted down to make sure that I keep asking Joe about that, make sure we get clear. There are lots of different muscle chuck varieties. So his SKU system or the way he numbers things isn't clear to me. So I asked him for a sheet that explains everything so I can understand it. And that way we can inventory it properly and answer these questions a lot better. Rich, I am machining a cutter holding board. What are the dimensions of the Allen wrench for the muscle chuck so I can carve a location for it? So the muscle chuck for the Makita is a 7/64. And when you order it from us, we give you the Allen wrench for free. We give you a T-handle, and we also give you a second clamping bolt. So 7/64 is it's the side from hex to hex, and then there's the circle around that. So I'm going to probably say, measure it out. 7/64, draw a circle in your Vectric software and do a dimension. I don't know what that is. I'll have to figure that one out. And finally, we have JP Precision. What do you guarantee the run out to be with the muscle chuck. So muscle chuck is the max run out is supposed to be 0.001. I measured that on my machine, and I measured a max of 0.0015 on it. So it was very close to what they had told me. One of the things I want to share with everyone, when you're using a muscle chuck, when you're taking your collet out and you are putting the muscle chuck in, you always clean the collet, the spindle shaft first as well, because that muscle chuck is seating up in the taper. So any debris that's up in there is going to affect how that taper sits up in there. And so what you want to do, I use steel wool. I'll get up in there and I'll spin that thing around a little bit, clean it out, stick my pinky in there, see if I feel any roughness still, and then I'll blow it out, wipe it out, clean it out, wash it out, get all the dirt out of it, and then we will we'll put the muscle chuck in. So I'm going to bring the girls back on board. We've hit our last question. We are 10 till the hour, and this has gone very quickly. And me handling this by myself without our sister Kate has been new for me. I just want to remind CNC Insiders, right? I got a new product I'm working on. It's going to be about 2 more months, I expect. Be sure to be on that list and stay on it, because you're going to get a discount. And for those of you who are not on the CNC Insiders list, down in that description in the description of this video, no matter where it's being played, there's a link to join the Insiders list. You'll get lots of tips, emails that come to you periodically. I don't bombard you. About every 3 days, you'll get an email. It's got some tips in it. So, girls, you're hanging out here again. And you've been out there chatting with our fellow creators.
Yep.
Yeah. And what's it like for you guys to be sitting here and talking with everybody and being a part of the community, as opposed to just coming to a job and clocking in and doing your stuff and never really being part of the cog, you know?
I'll say for me, I wasn't sure what to expect coming into a business where I'm doing more the background work. I'm not in front of people's faces at a store like I have been. But I've made just as much connection, if not more, than I ever have in face-to-face customer service. And I love the dialogue that we have with, especially our regulars. They'll pop on, they tease us. I'll answer the phone. I've added several of our regulars who call us to ask questions or say something about their order, say hi to our contacts on the business phone. And I'll be like, good morning, how you doing? Whoever it is.
Yeah. Liberty's been with IDC for a little over a year. Julianne, how long have you been on board now?
Since August 21st of last year.
Okay, so 4 or 5 months. Julianne came in and she just started straightening crap up. I mean, it's like she took a ton off of Liberty's shoulders right away just by having her on board. What's your experience been being part of the community, not just being someone who's in the background working and doing your stuff?
Oh gosh, well, considering I am newer than new to the CNC knowledge base, I'm going to Liberty with questions sometimes, like, okay, I just answered the phone. I have no idea what this means. Do you know, or should we go get Garrett?
Yeah.
So the not knowing is more of a fun learning curve, I'd say. Being in a completely different industry has been definitely interesting. I had no idea what CNC was before I started, so but yeah, it's definitely been, it's a very accepting, very welcoming, very open community where there's a lot of support, a lot of patience from everybody usually. If I can't answer a question, I'm more than happy to hear about what machine you have in your shop, what your project you're working on, what's going on in your life until I can actually find somebody to answer your question.
Yeah.
That's what I absolutely love about it, is the camaraderie of it.
Yep.
Yeah. On that note, I do want to advise, I prefer not to get, can you help me with Vectric calls? Right. That ties up our time a lot. And so I prefer Vectric calls coming in through email as opposed to on the phone. It says on the website, please do not use this for Vectric help. Right. That's why we have Kate, who teaches one-on-one. If you need help with Vectric software, please go to the website, go to the Learning Center, find one-on-ones, find Kate Tucker, and she will take care of you with the Vectric stuff. Although Liberty, we are there if we need to help you with that, because at the end, we are literally married to the design software. We're married to the machine. We can't work without each other. Right. And so there you go. And what do these guys?
There's a lot of people that are in need of M&Ms here. I'm seeing comments out the wazoo. I'm out of M&Ms. My bits lasted longer than my M&Ms.
Oh no, that's a sin. We have to up the M&M ante, don't we? How many M&Ms do we buy?
Cases?
We buy cases and cases and cases at a time.
Yeah.
We need to actually purchase more tomorrow?
Yes.
We're almost out.
Liberty used to spend all my money. Now Julianne's spending all the money.
Now I just tell her to go tell you to spend your money.
Yeah. Liberty says, Julianne, go tell him to spend this money. That's kind of the way this works. But it's not. It's you know what? Without the community, none of this can happen. We can help you guys bringing in new people. The two awesome ladies. This is what's so good about business, right? If you're driven that way, you just help other people in so many different ways. And then we can donate $30,000 for children. All right. All right. Well, with that, I think it's about just shy of 10 o'clock. So brothers and sisters, it is time for us to check out and do our thing for the evening, crash out. So another day starts tomorrow, and I get to finish putting the spindle on the long mill. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Ladies, why don't you say bid your adieus, and we'll check.
Adios.